Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Benjamin Breaker Novotny, and we are back with, as you can see, MVP Carnal about to go up with MiTH, aka Made in Thailand esports team. Now, the last time that I can see any records of them playing against each other, and this is just me using some very light textbook research, would be according to Wikipedia, that is wiki.teamliquid.net, their Counter-Strike information. Well, the last two times these teams went up against each other was at the Asian Games for Esports 2016 in the Grand Finals. MiTH actually played against MVP Carnal, and unfortunately they didn't win. That is to say, MiTH did not come out on top against MVP Carnal. I don't have a record of the maps played in the Grand Finals. I could probably find that on hltv.org, but there's also been no apparent roster changes according to Wikipedia. But I guess I can double check on HLTV, which would be a very good idea. The bets are pretty stacked on CSGO Lounge, about 80-something% in favor of MVP Carnal, with about percentage in the teens for team Made in Thailand. And we've got about 4 seconds until the knife round begins, so let me go ahead and put you guys on the appropriate screen to do so. I do apologize for my absence between the last game and this one, but we are about to get the knife round underway. Player highlight is going to be Kaze. And that player would be on which team? Great. Okay, so it looks like all right. That would be Kaze Lest. Number 4 on MVP Carnal. Probably a high impact player, but I guess we'll just wait and see where things go here. First map is going to be Dust 2, of course. By nature, a very T-sided affair. Well, I wouldn't say a very T-sided affair, but perhaps one of the only T-sided maps that's in the pool. And MiTH gets away with the right to choose CT or T side. I couldn't blame them. For, like, if you're talking about Dust 2, choosing to stay or swap, going to CT side or going to T side is all a matter of comfort. That's all it is. It really isn't, say, you know, CT side has that defender's advantage or T side has that defender's advantage or whatever in between. But it looks like we are going to be having MiTH staying with terrorist side. Very nicely done by them. The question is, what's the buy going to be on the pistol round coming out from both sides? We have ACAP as well as Amon being a little bit hesitant to select their buys. But it looks like ACAP finally has gone for the kit. And he could also, yeah, he's going to supplement that with a fragmentation grenade. Very nicely done thus far. Natural firepower advantage is going to be exploited by the CT side, but it's a very big dog pile on the bomb site B already. We can see that Vera and Rolex Monster managed to clear out the bomb site with their headshots. And with that being said, we're now going to be seeing the bomb planted and the CT is coming in for the retake. No headshots coming in, no dinks, no takedowns from the CT side just yet. Myrol's coming in here for a flank, and now it's all on Kaze. Star player, let's see what he can do right now. Looks like he's just going to pack out of there. I couldn't really blame him for that, but to be honest, I mean, what is there to save with this round in mind? Just Kevlar and a USPS. It's his choice nonetheless. We can respect it if that's what we would like to do. And I just noticed that there's 2 actual, if I read that correctly, there were 2 USPS Cayman skins in this game. No, I'm sorry. It's a Guardian with some stickers on it. Then Kaze actually has a USPS with a Cayman on it. He did get away with a second frag to his name, so that's more power to him. But with that being said, this is going to force Carnal onto more or less an eco round. The question is, how are they going to use this? Are they going to send all 5 of their players in one direction to take down the entire enemy team, or at least die trying? Interestingly enough, we did see ACAP and Amon going into bomb site B initially, but it looks like they're kind of redirecting themselves back towards mid a little bit. But It's going to be Izath taking a nice chunk of damage, very unpleasant chunk of damage from a fragmentation grenade. He's going to do a little bit of peeking, but gets taken down by the combined firepower of Rolex and Vera. Of course, Rolex is going to find a second frag. It'll be and a third in the form of Amon and Zever, respectively. ACAP now at mid. He's going to get one refrag in all of this with only 2 bullets. Not too terribly bad, but he's going to get flanked by Viper Demon, and that is going to be a nicely abused, nicely utilized kill reward, rather. Kaze, the last man standing now, and he is going to be getting a USPS. Well, I don't know where to place this. This is like 2 rounds in a row where he's been the last man standing, but at the same time, Kevlar, $650. Not that easy to replace, I guess you could say, but if he can hold on to it, at least going on into maybe, I'm trying to think, the 4th round, he might be okay. I mean, like, at that point, he essentially just has to spend money on a rifle and a full set of utilities. So this is not very pleasant right now if you are MVP Carnal at this moment. Zever and ACAP go ahead, and as well as Amon, go ahead and purchase P250s. No picks made just yet coming in from MiTH Vera with the Scout, but checking things out right now, their default seems to not have so much in the way of pressure on A-Long, or at least very little presence in the way of A-Long. In fact, both sides right now have very little presence in the way of A-Long. I do like this from my rolls, however, but Zever, he's getting totally lit up by that Molotov in the background. It's been 2-1 in the trades in favor of MiTH, but with that being said, looks like there's going to be an AK drop, and it might be... who was that? Wait, he picked it up and he dropped it, but now we've got... How did Kaze get out here? I guess he just went straight through B tunnels after thinking that most of our Thai team, our Thai Titans, were at mid. The majority of MVP Colonels on the west side of the map, of course. A little bit out towards bomb site B, but no commitments made just yet. They do have 2 AK-47s, one in the hand of Kaze there, but with 17 HP, it's going to be a little bit difficult to utilize fully, to say the very least. 40 seconds remain, and I imagine we'll be seeing MiTH making that bomb plant very soon. Yes, they will be. That's about it for the time being. I mean, this round, I don't see MVP Carnal playing for the retake, but this is going to put them in a stronger position going into their first full rifle buy round. So with that being said, they've got about $2,400 to gain off the back of this loss. And they're going to have 2 AK-47s to do it as well. Bomb detonation bonus, of course, it will be a full buy coming in from MiTH as well as full utilities. The real question is Vera going to drop that scout and replace it with something else? Looks like there's been a technical timeout called for the MVP Carnal side of things. As you can see, Zever says, "Sec, I'm fixing my ping," and he's going to be disconnecting, reconnecting, and then we'll have a rifle round on our way. So, MVP Carnal as a team, I feel like it's very difficult to put into words without offending anyone due to a lack of knowledge on the team. Of course, they did win first prize at the Asian Games 2016, and they got away with a lot of money for that as well. It must have been perhaps their first major win, much like, say, Mongols winning IEM Taipei, for example. But this is a rematch between both of the teams, and it looks like MiTH, I mean, I have to assume at this point that neither side has had a roster change. As the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So with Carnal here having, I imagine, virtually no roster changes, maybe MiTH has had something, maybe. I haven't had time to check their team's history on hltv.org. But thus far, it's at least working for them on the terrorist side of Dust 2. They do have 4 AK-47s and a scout to work with. Vera has not opted to replace that. It may be the weak point on the team, but I mean, as we do see, ACAP actually has an AWP on his person. Zever is reconnected. I imagine we'll be resuming very shortly. But this is also a good time to remind you all that we have a giveaway for an M4A4 Battlestar. It's field tested. You all may enter that giveaway by clicking on a photo of the skin below the twitch.tv stream window. Okay, there we go. Vera does replace that scout at the last, I wouldn't say the last moment, but he does think better of holding onto a scout with the first rifle buy round that we're going to be seeing coming from MBP Carnal. The round is now unpaused. And we are moments away from seeing the show get on the road. Double AWP setup coming in from MVP Carnal as well. That's I wouldn't say the shocking part, but if they can make very good use of it, then it will work to their favor. It makes for more passive play. And we're going to be seeing ACAP on bomb site B with his AWP. He knows where Vera is. He takes advantage of that, and that puts them up one man. Very nicely done from our Malaysian masters. It's going to be Rolex Monster. No, just checking the rear at A-Long, but they're going to continue poking forward, and they've smoked mid, so this looks like it could be a mid to B split. It's definitely what I'm thinking right now. Rolex manages to take down ACAP there, putting themselves up one man on the offensive. Izas manages to get a refrag, but so too does the trade come through for Ginny. It's all Amon now on bomb site B all alone. He gets a bullet into Viper Demon, but it's not enough to stop him. Low HP on a couple of these Ts, rather on one T in the form of Ginny. 2 versus 1. The retake can be very difficult when both players are coming from double doors, but it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Or maybe one window, one double door. They have to think, do they actually want to give up this round on the retake? Flash going in, and it looks like it's going to be both players going in, but Viper, he manages to get the jump, and not only the jump, but the double kill that gives him 3 kills, and his team the 4th victory in a row. I'm a bit of a loss for words here for the MVP Carnal side of things, but hey, this is a best of 3, and if we were to see Carnal lose this match for the evening, then it's not the end of the world. They're not shut out of the tournament. This is, how do I say this? It's a mostly group stages oriented tournament from start to finish. So with that being said, I mean, losing one match is not the end of the world if you're MVP Carnal. Likewise, it's the same thing for MiTH, especially at the beginning of the season. But likewise, that also means that of the previous best of 3 between Double ZCY and Enface, Enface did not lose their spot in the tournament. They weren't knocked out by that. But speaking of knockout, it's going to be Mayrolls taking down Izath. Rolex going to drop down to CT and take down ACAP. It's now 3 versus 5, again in the favor of our Thailand Titans. Barrett catching the rotate. It feels almost as though like they played against MVP Gaming on this map previously, and they somehow they reviewed what they like to do when they do this kind of an execute, what they can expect, because Vera, like, it was almost like he was able to predict his enemy was coming from that direction. And that wasn't the second time, I'm sorry, that was the second time I remember seeing a player that was highlighted by the Auto Observer that definitively looked in a reverse direction at that location on Catwalk and was hoping, not hoping, but expecting someone to come from that direction. This round, it looks like it's going to be mostly upgraded pistols coming in from MVP Carnal. I think they're really looking for that round where they can make a difference with the weapons in their hands. 1 for 1 in the trades thus far. They might even get away with an AK in their hands. No one's actually babysitting that AK-47 right now, so that's going to be salvaged. Money-wise, however, I mean, MiTH for 5 wins, this isn't where you would really expect the money to be, but even if they do lose a round, they should have enough for a full buy, if not something very close to the grade of a full buy, or something very close to the tune of a full buy. going to be Viper, Demon, and Mayrolls getting the clearing kills onto bomb site B. Kaze and Zever are now the last two CTs standing, and I don't think it's any taking this one. Zever, he seems to be wisening up, and he's just going to lurk back, maybe look for some exit frags, but we also have Kaze there, who's right next to window. He's looking for the exit frags too. I mean, they're basically, I wouldn't say at the two essential parts, because right now, well, that's Kaze shut down. Yeah. Don't think there's going to be any exit kills here for Zever, with or without an AK-47 on hand. Alright, should be a full buy coming in now for the MVP Cardinal side of things. They did have a double AWP setup last time. It looks like they've decided to not give ACAP this AWP this time around. And MiTH, 6 rounds in a row. I can't remember the last time I saw 6 rounds in a row on T side on Dust 2. The split is according to the meta right now. It looks like 2-1-2 for the most part, but that one in mid is actually going to be Ezoth, and he's kind of lurking around CT spawn. It's going to be opening frag by Zever. You heard Jenny coming through, and that's a very nice follow-up flash coming in from his teammate. Looked like it came from Kaze. So nicely done with the tag teaming at A long, but there's still 3 players left on the board, and they look like they're dead set on going for a B execute. At that location, there's only 2 players, but it's 1 for 1 in the trades, and that is looking like MVP Cardinal might be slated to take this round and working their way back into this game. He's also a little bit late to start shooting, but finally the bomb is dropped at bomb site B, and that is going to leave Vera with only one way to go if he wants to win this. Does get a nice no-scope. I didn't even have to look at that. I knew it was a no-scope. But shot in the feet is going to be Zoth just backing off for the time being. Like, okay, we don't want to bite off more than we're going to chew. 30 seconds remain, and I think Vera's made his intentions. He says, guys, respect me. He's made his intentions clear. Most certainly by now. Most certainly by now. Says, guys, respect. R-E-S-P-C-T. You know what I mean? He just says, don't come at me anymore. But is he really going to work his way back towards that bomb site? Oh my god. Well, I'm at a bit of a loss for words there, but I think Vera, what he was trying to do is he was trying to make it as expensive as possible for the CTs to get a win off of that. But you can see here by the bank that MiTH is not looking like they're in any trouble right now. They've got plenty of money to work with, at least, well, for this round. Oh yeah. If they lose this one, they're in a lot of trouble. If they can get a bomb plant, they're still in a lot of trouble money-wise. So that being said, now we're going to be seeing 4 rifles coming from Cardinal, almost full utilities, and it's looking like a catwalk execute, but no one's on A platform right now. No one's ready to intercept that assault coming from MiTH at the moment. Looks like they're going for mid. It's going to be Rolex as well as Ginny, followed by Mayrolls now going in. Guess what? Well, Ezoth isn't able to get one, but it's going to be 1, 2, made by ACAP. I'm sorry, Amon and ACAP combined. Amon gets away with a double kill. And it's 3 versus 2 now. We're going to be having Zever running into tunnels, and they have yet to get the bomb planted. MiTH is not in a great position right now. They are going to do it now. Flashbang tossed, and that's going to be Viper Demon looking for somebody's head. He will actually spin just in time to get the headshot, but it looks like Vera just following it up with a center mass shot from that AWP on the Kaze is going to be doing his work. Was 2 versus 3 at one point, now it's 1 versus 2, and we're going to be having our last Cardinal player struggling for that retake. Couldn't get even a single bullet onto Amon as onto Viper Demon as Viper Demon does take him down. 6 HP was all that was left on Viper Demon, but it was still an expensive win. So this is something that chisels away at the economy a little bit more here for the MiTH side of things. You can see it right now. I mean, Rolex Monster, he can't even afford to buy some extra utilities. They do all have full armor, however. But at the same time, their situation is 10 times better than that of Carnal's, as we have only upgraded pistols here for the most part. We're talking about 2 P250s and a 5.7, maybe a CZ to go with it. MiTH taken down on A platform. Rolex gonna get a second in the form of A cap, and now flank coming in, but Myrol's, he's perfectly ready for it. Kaze 5 HP, not gonna press the issue, or is he? Oh my. Well, this is a round that MiTH takes to the bank, really. It looks like maybe they might have practiced an entire week for this match against MVP Carnal. I mean, just it seems very robust, but hey, we're only talking about now MiTH just hitting the threshold for the number of rounds that they want to have before the end of the first half. They've already hit that threshold. Everything else that they get from here on out, every single round that they're able to take for the rest of the 5 rounds of the first half, is bonus to them. But right now, I don't think they're, I don't think they can be stopped on this round. But I've been wrong before. Even if they lose this one, well, nicely done by MVP Carnal. But oh boy, well, Viper misses the headshot initially on Kaze there at long. He does actually spin around to finish what his opponent, or rather what his teammate starts, and that's 2 versus 5. But again, MiTH is in that kind of situation where if they lose this round, it's not too big of an issue. Just add 1400 to everything you see here, and you'll have only one player that is going to have a deficient buy. MiTH discovers where that AWP player is and turns it into a double kill. Nicely done as he steals the AWP, and this is a round that MVP Carnal take to the bank. So this is a very important one to both sides. I imagine more so for Carnal than that of MiTH, because if they get reset, I'm looking at everything that they would have. They could potentially make a force buy next round. Potentially. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. But if MiTH loses this one and you just add simply 1900 to this, then they're not going to be looking too terribly great. Zever making a nice refrag after taking an unhealthy amount of damage from Rolex Monster. ACAP going to blind fire through that. He's oblivious to the fact that he was actually hitting Jimmy. But, I'm sorry, Ginny, not Jimmy. Bomb's been planted, 4 versus 4. This is all a game of positioning right now. Positioning, mechanics, aim, everything else in between, and I like the position here from Ginny. Sounds like he missed the burst, revealed his position, and Vera gonna get the flick onto MiTH. One more CT waiting around that corner, but they say presto changeo, no problemo. And what do you know? Viper Demon actually has the same favorite Overwatch character as myself. Technical timeout called for MVP Carnal, and well, in this situation, MiTH is already like I said it before, and I'll say it again. The threshold for the number of rounds you want to have on terrorist side is 8 rounds, and as it stands right now, MVP Carnal cannot win more than 6 rounds before the end of the first half, and that becomes exponentially more difficult with each round that they lose, because as you can see on the left hand side of your screen, there's no one there with enough money for a full buy for the CT side. You're talking about having a bare minimum of $5,600. The kit, the armor, the nades, utilities, and of course your weapon. Right now nobody has that. MiTH could potentially go glass cannon with an AWP, but I don't think he's the opper on that team. Checking things out frags wise, you can see that there is a pretty big difference on the MiTH side of things. Not so much in the way of MVP Carnal. You see that there are 8 kills on the top fragger that we see right now, and bottom fragger's at 4. But I believe this would be a good time to go ahead and plug in all of our partners. That would be csgolounge.com. It would also be twitch.tv, g2a.com, and last but not least, hltv.org. And this is also a good time to go ahead and remind you guys that we have a giveaway for an M4A4 Battlestar. You guys can enter that giveaway by clicking on the picture of the Battlestar skin below this window, where you'll be prompted to enter via 10 different methods. So that means every person who enters the giveaway will have 10 different chances to win the skin. Just want to check up on what is happening with the stream right now, making sure we're not dropping any frames. Everything looks kind of smooth. I'd like to thank all 2,923 of you guys. And I guess you could say third time is the charm. Tomorrow when we start up our stream, we're not going to have any dropped frame issues. Finally got the recipe about right, but we're still waiting for a player to reconnect from MVP Carnal, and then everything should be fine and dandy. Right. Something I forgot to fill you guys in on about this best of 3 for the evening is actually who picked what map, and let me go ahead and do that right now. So MVP Carnal, well, actually all I have here is map 1, map 2, and map 3. No one actually fed me the map picks and ban screen, unfortunately. Due to the setup that I have right now for my stream, I do not like to log into Skype because I don't want to accidentally reveal Skype on stream. I've seen that Twitch channels have previously been suspended as a result of revealing Skype on stream, so I'd rather not do that. Hopefully, with what I just clicked on for my cell phone, I should be able to see who banned and picked which map, and we've got the time to fill you guys in with that. Unfortunately, I don't have that information. Apologies, everyone. Well, map 1 is going to be, of course, as you can see, Dust 2. Map 2 will be Cobblestone. Map 3 will be Mirage, should we need to play map 3. Game is unpaused, and 3 Falmuses, a UMP, and an M4A4 is, I mean, it's not optimal, but it's something. We're going to be seeing MVP Carnal trying to take a 3rd round and put it on the board for themselves. Meanwhile, we've got an almost completely uncontested push-up A-Long coming from MiTH, and this is hitting them very, very quickly. I'll give you some perspective of this later. Rolex Monster gets the opening frag with a Molotov, and now we've got Amon desperately trying to rotate back to rejoice with his team. He's tried to retake with his team. Blind fire on smoke. Bomb is planted. Going to be seeing an attempt to jump. Shot somebody, but it's back to 4-4, courtesy of Kaze. Excuse me. Now we have flashbangs being tossed out there. Amon coming through. Sever backing him up as well, and Amon's going to get himself a double kill. Last player is going to be in the pit. Player going for a defuse in the background as well. And that's just Vera getting shut down. That's going to be a nice salvage for them, the AWP, that is. No kit necessary, as we do see this round taken. There's only a potential of 3 more rounds to be taken now if you're the Malaysian Masters, and if you can get away with 6 rounds, it might be workable when they switch to the terrorist side. It just simply depends on how their execution pans out on that side. Now, oh, right. What was pretty big about the take coming in from MiTH at A Long there at the beginning of that previous round, round 12, was they managed to do it without throwing any flashbangs at Long. And on top of that, they were able to get, how do I say this? They were able to get to box on A Long, on A site with almost without throwing any utilities. They did manage to put down the smoke, yeah, but that's basically, they were at the foot of A platform when they had basically announced their arrival in the way of gunshots, and utilities being tossed. MiTH on something of a force buy. You can see that Viper Demon's purchase is obviously deficient. He does have a Tech 9 on hand, however. It does, in some ways, match what an AK-47 can do, as long as it is close range. We're talking about hedge, you know, how do I put this into words? We're talking about point blank range, but Vera's going to get the opening frag onto ACAP, and this might open up some play. Holy sweet mother of reflexes. Amon gets one, spins by about 90 degrees, and gets a second. He's going to be avenged by his fallen, his living teammate Izoth coming in from B tunnels. And now Kaze missing the flick. 78 HP remains on Ginny, spinning around, looking for that second frag, but is shut down by Zever after we see the missed no-scope from Kaze. If I had to guess, I would say that perhaps the server that we are playing on for both teams is located in Singapore. The reason why is because MVP Karnal is in Malaysia, and Malaysia surrounds Singapore, essentially. Further, it's not too terribly far away from Thailand, and our Thai Titans' highest ping is 60 from Viper Demon, top fragger on that team. But this time it's going to be upgraded pistols and upgraded pistols only right now, coming in from MiTH. If they can make a play happen off of this, it'll be a miracle, and it'll be very entertaining to watch, I think. But they're throwing in that smoke now. They're going to try and make that mid to B play happen. But Kaze, he gets a collateral, but he doesn't get the kill onto Vera. He actually did 95 damage there. So don't be fooled. He actually did hit 2 targets with 1 bullet, but just wasn't enough. And that's going to be Zever shutting down the prospect for plant. And with that, we're actually only going to see $1,800 go to the pocket of the terrorists. 1,900, excuse me. So, or 2,400 with 3 losses in a row. So last round of the first half is coming through, and going to be a little bit short of a full buy coming in from Team MiTH. But they've got a decent amount of utilities, so give them the benefit of the doubt. And Vera is actually taking a little bit of time to purchase those. I was about to say, there's no point in floating any resource, or not floating resources, but rather, no point in floating your money, saving it for the next round. This is the last round of the first half. Next round's pistol round of the second half. But we're going to be seeing now Karnal. Well, ACAP, along with Zever, going up mid and getting aggressive, doing these converse tactics. I think that might have been something that they thought of on the fly, because everything that I've seen from MiTH, every single winning, I wouldn't say every single winning round, but definitely early on in the first half, there were 2 or 3 rounds where I think I saw MiTH kind of, how do I say this, counterplaying strategies employed by Karnal. Big example I can think of was Vera being at catwalk and turned around towards those double barrels at high mid. But now they are going for at least a poke at bombsite A via catwalk. Flashbang tossed for bombsite A, and now we're going to be seeing this entire team going for Ginny gets that opening return frag, I guess you could say. 4 versus 4 now. ACAP is going to just shut down a very overzealous Ginny right there, trying very eagerly to get that bomb plant down. It's going to be a double kill coming from Rolex, but he's finally shut down by Zever. 1 versus 2 now, and MyRolls has got to make the miracle play happen with only 20 seconds remaining on the clock. He is, however, flanked, and that will be MVP Karnal putting 6 rounds on the board before they switch over to the terrorist side. Both sides call out the good half, and this is a good time to go ahead and thank all of our broadcast partners. That would be csgolounge.com, g2a.com, hltv.org, and last but not least, twitch.tv. And for those of you who are interested, we do have an M4 Battlestar field-tested skin giveaway. It is not a factory new, just so there's no confusion. Gonna be seeing now Rolex Monster and Myrolls working their way into B tunnels. They're actually getting a little bit aggressive there. They should be spotting Izoth very shortly, but Karnal's opening frag comes from Zever, and that's going to take Viper Demon out of the game. So opens up possibilities for them. Rolex is going to get a refrag. However, 8cap takes down Vera. And it's now 4 versus 3 in favor of our Malaysian Masters. Rolex Monster caught off guard, but will still make the frag on top of his target at high mid. Sorry about that. Rolex Monster now shut down. Back to 2 versus 2. HP advantage is there for the T's, however. And now it looks like that's going to be ACAP jumping, shooting, and scoring onto Ginny. Considerable lead taken in the first half by MiTH, but now it looks as though this is a round that is perhaps going to go much to the tempo of MVP Karnal. Let's not count them out yet, however. There's a reason why they call this the anti-eco round, and they have made purchases for pistols, armor, and well, I guess Kaze is just shutting it down, shutting down that hope, piece by piece. Ginny is looking for an angle to work with, but he can't quite find anything here. If Izoth pokes out a little bit more, might have something to work with. No move made just yet by MVP Karnal. No commitment to A long or B site just yet. This is, of course, one of those rounds where you have to be most weary, because typically what happens is when you're on that forced buy round, or that round where you're buying pistols, the eco round, quasi buy round, whatever you want to call it, you typically have to accompany that weekend firepower with some, I don't want to call it cheesy tactics, but something that's a little bit obtuse or adverse. And MVP Karnal's just not having any of that. They do make that frag at A long onto, I think that was Vera. But Ginny, nice Juan Dig onto Zever, is looking like he is going to rotate to Catwalk, potentially A short. Izoth drops down after making the bomb plant. But as it stands right now, MiTH is very much so intent to hold on to the weapons that they have gathered over this round and purchased. Viper Demon's going to have an AK-47 going into the next round, which is something that can perhaps give them a little bit of a leg up or some form of hope. But looks as though we're going to be having the T's. I would not call this CT hunting, but it looks like they're actually doing it. They're not just clearing out of the bomb site. They're actually going looking for something to do with their spare time. I'm sorry, they're looking to remove what was left of MiTH at that time, but to no avail. They were chasing these guys down without any results. MiTH with upgraded pistols to accompany that AK-47 and Scout. That's about it. But looks like the opening frag did come in from the MiTH side of things. Just there was a trade there, however. Oof. Kaze says, I don't have an AWP, but it doesn't matter. And now it looks like we're going to be having Rolex taking over on that Scout that his teammate dropped. He even hit center mass. This is actually looking potentially a little bit dangerous coming in for MVP Karnal. But as I say that, maybe not, as Izoth does make a refrag in the process. But Vera has an AK-47 on his person. All he needs to do is land a couple of bullets in the right spot, and he can bring this back to 2 versus 2. So let's give these guys the benefit of the doubt now, shall we? And he is he's been carrying his weight. I'm sorry, actually, Rolex Monster has been carrying his weight in terms of killing, in terms of frags, KDR, everything else in between. Nice no-scope as he does hit Amon in the feet. Vera is all alone on A platform. Can't quite hit what he's looking for here. This is a little bit awkward, but finally in the end he does make that burst connect. He's going to get surrounded now as Kaze is coming in from one side, and then on the other it was bound to be Izoth. Rolex Monster does have a Galil on his person. Both of those guys are 30-something HP. Just 2 bullets need to impact on each of them. But Kaze turns to the right place at the right time and fires the right bullet at his target. MiTH now on their first rifle buy round, first full-blown rifle buy round. But look at Vera. He's actually at glass cannon mode right now with that AWP. No armor to go with it whatsoever. Does make me worry just a little bit. And interestingly enough, it would appear that Kaze does not want to go with an AWP. Does he have the money for it? We'll get to that in just a minute, as there's a huge dog pile going into bomb site B, and it looks like MiTH is actually holding this quite well. Rolex getting a double kill to complement the MyRolls double kill. I'm going to miss that on the minimap. I do apologize. Amon, however, is the last man standing for MVP. Right, I lost what I was trying to think, what I was thinking of at that moment. Let's check this out. So Kaze, if he wanted to, he could have made an AWP purchase at the beginning of this round, but it's not something that he wanted. No bomb on Amon, but well, Vera was, I think that was a respectable choice. He just heard his footsteps and he was looking in the right direction. So MiTH managed to bring it back on their first rifle buy round. You can see rifles purchased here coming from MVP Carnal, but the utilities are not going to be amazing. As we can see, they really like to draw out the match time in some of these rounds against MiTH. Especially, I think, after the way they started off against MiTH on the first half, but with dropping about 6 rounds before they could finally put one on the board for themselves. Scouting with bullets essentially is what they're doing. If they can hit something, just take a little bit of HP off of one of their targets, you even get a stray headshot, that's well worth the time, or well worth the bullet that's been spent. However, looking at the minimap right now, we can see that going to be having the bomb carrier along with Zever. That's Kaze and Zever going together on a catwalk. Kaze actually has an AWP on his person, but no armor to go with that, so he's a glass cannon right now. I dare say that an M4 shot to the head could probably take him down, but I'm not entirely sure of that theory. 45 seconds remain. Neither team has lost a player or even taken a single bullet. An opening shot was fired. We're going to be having Rolex pushing forward towards B double doors, and now B slope. Now he's about to run into a lot of trouble at window and door. MyRolls does manage to take one down before he is traded out, and bomb has been planted. And MiTH has got to get on position ASAP if they want to get this retake going. But it's so difficult to re-enter the bomb site from double door and window without anyone going into, say, tunnels. Izoth is here. Have no fear. Should it be necessary. But Ginny manages to kill someone with his incendiary. Vera gets... What on earth was that? Well, okay, now it's back to 1 versus 1 after we see Kaze get one and Izoth get another. But now we see MiTH winning it. Maybe? This defuse is going to be pretty close. Might even turn green. Not quite, not quite. But MiTH, very expensive win. They managed to get the defusal win. And MVP Carnal, I think this is going to be a quasi-buy at best for them. It could be Tech 9 armor. You can see Kaze immediately, no hesitation, just purchasing a Tech 9, but... no commitment, no full-blown commitment to that cause just yet. Rolex Monster realizes what is coming at him. It's another mid to B play again, but he does manage to get one, and Well, it's 2 for 2 in the trades. MVP Cardinal staying on top of what they should, and now that retake is going to come in. I said that retake is going to come in, right? MiTH, I said you're going for the retake, right? Well, Amon in the right place at the right time this time. He's actually going in with a nice flank. He's going to get one before backpedaling. He's not going to try and push his luck for a second. Nicely done by Zever as he's going to come in and shut this down almost completely. That's beautiful Counter-Strike. Like, 2 rounds in a row, we see the same play. But the difference is, on the second round, we see a different counter retake play. I think that was Amon who was playing it with the P250. Yeah. He's still alive with the same P250 he used on the previous round, if I'm looking at this correctly. And not only that, he wasn't even being greedy. He just went in there, he got another one, and I think Zever popped out at just the right time to get another one. But Myro's being shut down on this round. Well, I mean, you can see what MiTH has to buy right now, and it's mostly only upgraded pistols. It's just not looking pretty. Fragmentation Grenade deals about a grand total of 76 damage across 2 players. That's Vera and Viper Demon. They're going to go rushing up mid right now, looking for some action for their satisfaction and maybe a weapon to steal. Interestingly enough, we actually see an abandon there. Did I see that right? Flank coming in now from Izzat. After they get the bomb plant, it's going to be 1 player, of course. They should know that the last CT is in tunnels right now. Take things over to Rolex Monster TV. Can't tell if that was a headshot or not, but Izzat was left with 10 HP after that, so I imagine one of those was, and then the second shot missed after an aim punch hit him. Score is now 11-11. And checking and sizing things up right now, I think this is a round that MVP Cardinal can take. I mean, just look at it. All that we have coming from MiTH right now is upgraded pistols, and that's it for the time being. Looks like they're trying to smoke Catwalk, potentially, the terrorist site is. And they are going from A long, as you can see. Sorry, I'm kind of drifting out of it. I've been going and casting now for about 5 hours, almost 5 hours. It's going to be 1-2 made on Catwalk by ACAP. He's getting flanked, however, and that's going to be Rolex Monster able to avenge his teammates. Back to 3 versus 3. They will have a rifle on their hands as they go through Catwalk and try to prevent this plant. Ginny manages to bring it back to 3-2. 7 HP on Amon right now. Does manage to get 2 to his name. Now it's back to 1 versus 2. Ginny this time is going to have an AWP on his person, but I don't think that's the best tool in the shed. But looks like the shot caller has said, Ginny, fall back, save. And Ginny will obey. Perfectly respectable decision because they've already lost 2 rounds in a row. This is their eco round, if you will. And after this one, they should have, assuming it's going to be 3 losses in a row, they should have a grand total of about $2,400 added to each player's bank. So that should be enough for mostly full buys across the board. Ginny, ever wary. Oh my. That gets more expensive than it needs to be for MVP Cardinal, but they also realized the situation at hand. They knew that it was 2 ecos in a row from MiTH. It would be a full rifle buy round this time, along with an AWP. They don't want to deal with that. So, I mean, in their eyes, the risk was worth the potential reward. And if you look at the amount of money that they have right now, it's not necessarily of any consequence to them. You could probably make another one. If they lose this one, they add 1,400, and you'll see what they have. That's about 3,000 lowest buy, but Izzat making the opening frag says, nah, I don't think we're going to lose this one. There was a stack at mid just a moment ago. It was with, I think, MyRolls and Rolex Monster, but MyRolls takes a nasty chunk through Double Door's metal surface, and Kaze coming through. Misses that flick, but it's still 4 versus, well, back to 4 versus 4, as MyRolls gets Izzat out of the equation. Something's happening in mid. Is this a fake that's being sold to CTs? It just threw a smoke at CT, and now the CTs are actually going straight through mid. ACAP gets one. It's Ginny on the refrag. He's looking for the second. I don't know about that, but again, MiTH is down one player in this exchange. It's 2 versus 3 as we speak. And with that being said, really, I feel like they may not simply be slated for this. I mean, they're not long for this round, really. Look at what Ginny's got: 12 HP, an M4, full armor, a kit. I think that's worth saving. But we have to check and see what they're going in with on the next round, because they've already lost, or rather, they've already gained 2,400. So you add another 500 to that, they'll have 2,900 after this round. Maybe with some force buys, they'll have some kind of a chance. We'll see. Viper Demon able to buy a FAMAS with some Kevlar, not necessarily a full buy, perhaps a full buy, excuse me, perhaps a FAMAS with full armor, a couple utilities, but this is where we see the pressure kind of build for MiTH. I think I would be pretty salty in this position if, and I've gone to, I think we've all played those games where we've been on the team that got 12 rounds on the first half and then we still lost in the second half. I think we've all been that player. It is something of a full buy. Double AWP setup coming actually from Team MiTH. Nicely placed fragmentation grenade by Rolex Monster. It only removes 25 HP from his target, however. And we now have ACAP in lower tunnels, Izatha in upper tunnels. On site with a FAMAS, it'll be my roles. Rather to say on B site, it will be anti-entry frag, but it's just ACAP not checking that corner. It's like, I don't know how else to place this. It's one of those things that can drive you mad, really. That one corner that you never check is the one that kills you. That one round. But MiTH already up one man in this exchange, 4 versus 5. And, oh, Vera's been spotted. He got shot at, but he's still mostly alive and kicking. Interestingly enough, we actually see Izath get away from that exchange. Zever manages to get one refrag, so it's back to 4 versus 4. Kevlar, jeez Louise. Carnal trying to pick up the slack. Smokes tossed for CT. They're going to try and work their way into bomb site B. It's 1 for 1 in the trades on B slope. And in the back of sight, it's going to be Vera at 3 HP. He manages to get 2 for his time, and that's going to put Zever in a very, very heated position. 25 seconds remain. He's got to find an opportunity to make that bomb plant. He's only got 30 HP. He's looking at door, but his target is at window. Oh, jeez Louise. Well, MiTH managed to bring it back, but look at how much money they have to work with. It's not going to be an amazing buy. And we have to ask ourselves, is that buy going to be better than that of MVP Carnal? I feel like the answer is yes and no. We got 3 AK-47s on the MVP Carnal side of things, and, okay, well, MVP Carnal's buy is better now. 3 AK-47s going up against 3 CT rifles, and once you hear the term CT and rifle in the same sentence, it basically becomes clear to you that AK-47s are boss over that. Statistically speaking, they get the most kills out of any other weapon in the game. The 1 bullet rule. Pop flash up mid. Zever pokes forward a little bit, but ACAP gets himself a double kill on Catwalk. It's going to be Zever watching the rear. He will be taken down at mid by my rolls, but CT Swan, he's going to get a double kill. He's forced to reload now. Fragmentation grenade is tossed, and Glock is firing at him through smoke. 23 HP remains. He's still looking to get the revenge frag here. I guess you could say those 2 kills he just made were just the MVP Carnal boys being a little bit overzealous. There was, you know, basically no real reason for them to go moving forward and chasing my rolls, but at the same time, it is what it is. And I guess you could say it's decision making at that point. They could have just simply, you know, head out towards the bomb site, And if my rules actually wanted to go for the retake, then they could punish him for it. But here we are with MVP Colonel going to 14 rounds. It's going to be a forced buy on a reset if MiTH wants to avoid overtime. They only need 4 rounds to take this map. If they want to get into overtime, they're going to need at least 3. That opening shot did not actually kill anyone, but Rolex Monster is down to 37 HP as a result thereof. MyRolls is going to get the opening frag. It'll be Izath getting 1 refrag and ACAP with another, bringing the MVP boys up to 4-3 against their Thai Titans. Molotov gradually spreads to Zevver's position, but for the most part he's fine as he does finish the bomb plant. Unfortunately, like, this is just savage right now. Well, Viper manages to get one refrag in all of this, but there's nothing left for Team MiTH now, and this is where this buy is just simply not going to be able to compare with MVP Colonel. MiTH have to win 3 rounds in a row, and it starts here if they want to get into overtime and then potentially take this map. You can see what the force buy looks like right now. It's not too pretty. Everyone's got at least Kevlar. There's 2 players missing helmets, but I think this is a game on a limited fuse for MiTH right now. And for those of you who may have never seen this team before, MiTH stands for Made in Thailand. I guess that would make me MIA, Made in America. No, MIM, Made in Merca. There we go. Right now, looking rather bleak for MiTH, but MVP Colonel still not going to overextend anytime soon. They're still waiting for, I guess you could say, something to happen from the MiTH side of things. They're waiting for them to get a little bit overzealous, but that's not happening. Amon and ACAP now poking out A-Long. And Rolex Monster on his person only has a 5.7 and a full set of armor, as well as a flashbang grenade. He does get 1, looking for that second, can't quite make it happen. Vera's gonna recollapse to that position, but it looks like MVP Colonel is probably gonna take their sweet time pushing up this location. They just realized that, hey, they made a bunch of noise there, and the enemy team should know where they are. But Izath does manage to get 1 frag. He's refragged by Viper Demon. It's gonna be Kaze as well as Amon getting 2 more to the name, but it's back to 1 versus 2. And MyRolls is only on 15 HP. Kaze and Zevver tag teaming it to try and make the plant happen, but it's only 15 HP left on MyRolls. Looked rather bleak once he was the last man standing with only 15 HP, but we'd like to congratulate MVP Colonel for taking map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. So, some quick shout-outs before we take things into a short commercial break would be, and we're talking about a 5, no later than 10-minute break before we get into map number 2, which is going to be Cobblestone. Some quick shout-outs would be to our partners. That would be CSGOLounge.com, G2A.com, Twitch.tv, and last but not least, HLTV.org. We'd also like to remind you all that we have a Battlestar M4A4 skin to give away. It's a field-tested skin, not a factory new skin. And with that being said, we are now going to take things into a short break. Don't you guys go away.